Okay, last section for today is the upper limb that's going to fit into your pectoral girdle. So bones of the upper limb are going to be your arm, your forearm, and your hand. Very important for muscle attachments for movement of your arms. And basically they're going to function as levers. So my elbow is basically a lever that's going to allow my arm to move. The humerus, the longest bone, the longest of your arm bones, extends from the scapula to the elbow. So this top part is your humerus. It's going to have the head at the top. Actually, I'll take this one. So the head is the rounded part at the top of the humerus. The radius, it's going to articulate with the radius at the capitulum, which is going to be right here. So that's going to go to your radius. Radius will be thumb side. That's the way to remember radius. And then the ulna, pinky side, it's going to articulate at the trochlea, which we'll actually talk more about that in a little bit. Greater and lesser tubercles. This paragraph here, not quite as important. Epicondyles we'll talk about. The olecranon fossa will be important because the olecranon is basically your funny bone. So your funny bone is going to fit into the fossa on your humerus. So here's the picture. Greater tubercle top, lesser tubercle bottom. This is considered the neck. The head, you should obviously know the head end. I do want you to know that epicondyle, epi means on top, and a condyle is kind of a round knob. So lateral, this is going to be on the outside of your humerus. Medial is going to be towards the middle of your humerus. Coronoid is not coracoid. We talked about coracoid with the scapula. Coronoid is going to be part of your humerus bone. Olecranon fossa is the part that I wanted you to see. So when I look at, I'm actually going to take this one. If I'm looking at an arm, my funny bone is this little notch right here. The funny bone is called the olecranon process, and it's actually part of your ulna. The olecranon fossa is this indentation where your process is going to fit. So your funny bone is part of your ulna, and it's called olecranon process, and it fits into the olecranon fossa. The radius then, like I said, remember thumb side. So if I'm looking at a hand, as long as I can tell where the thumb is at, I know that the radius is going to be on the thumb side. Ulna is going to be on the pinky side. The ulna is going to have your elbow on it. The radius is a little bit wider at the hand end. But the radius is thumb side. It extends from the elbow to the wrist. The disc-like head of the radius pivots with the capitulum of the humerus, so that's where it's going to fit. Radial tuberosity, styloid process. The styloid process, so if I look at my hand, and I said that the radius is thumb side, my wrist has two points right here. So the styloid process of my radius is going to be that point of my wrist on the inside by my thumb. So that will be the styloid process. The ulna is a little bit longer because it does have the elbow with it. It's going to be on the pinky side. And like I said, it's going to have the olecranon process, which you call your funny bone. Coronoid process, the head, and it also has a styloid process. So if I look back at my wrist, the styloid process of the ulna is going to be on the other side. So there will be a styloid process on each side. Distal end's going to articulate with your wrist area, and the ulna, I call it pinky side, because it's going to attach on your pinky side. So just honestly ignore number 3. It's talking about anatomical position. Ignore number 3. It's going to be on your, as long as you know where your pinky is at, you know what side your ulna is on. So here, if I look at pictures, here I'm looking at my ulna, because there's my olecranon process. The trochlear notch then is basically where it's going to curve around the humerus bone. And then the coronoid process is the other part where it fits. So if I'm looking at my elbow area, olecranon process, olecranon fossa. Fossa is on my humerus. If I look at the other side of my ulna, this is the coronoid process, and when I lift that up, it's going to fit into this fossa, which is the coronoid fossa. So your fossas are on your humerus, and your processes are on your ulna. Head end of the radius, styloid process here, styloid process there, and those you can easily feel in your wrists to find those. The hand. The hand has the wrist, which are small bones, the palm, which is going to be longer bones, and then your digits, your fingers. The wrist has 8 carpal bones, which I won't have you memorize those carpal bones. However, in college, very likely that you might. 5 metacarpal bones. So if I'm looking at this as my hand, my wrist are these little bones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 metacarpals, which make up basically the palm part of your hand. There's a bone here, 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 and you can feel those. Then my metacarpal bones are going to attach to my phalanges. So here's my metacarpal, and here are my phalanges, then are going to be the next 3 bones, other than your thumb only has 2. So if I look at my finger, which you can see here, 1, 2, 3 parts to it. If I bend my finger, I can see 1, 2, 3 parts to it. So, like I said, wrist bones. I want you to know that they are your carpals. That's what I want you to know. I will not have you memorize these. What was my... Look out, here comes the thumb. There's a way to memorize the carpals, but like I said, in high school, I won't have you memorize those. I do want you to know metacarpals. Thumb starts as number 1. Your pinky would be your 5th metacarpal. And then your phalanges are actually broken up into 3 parts. Remember, distal means far away. So if I'm looking at my fingers, this would be my distal phalanx. That's the furthest away. Middle is in the middle, and proximal is the one that's going to attach to your metacarpal. So there's 3 parts to each phalange. And that's where we'll stop with that one. We're getting close. We have the pelvic girdle, the lower limbs, and that's pretty much it.